and I got fairly serious.
So we're joined today by Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft, who has been listed as the richest person in the world for 16 of the past 21 years. He is co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which spends about $4 billion a year on tackling poverty and disease and promoting education around the world. Bill is in London to talk at an FT 125 Forum event on leadership and innovation, and we're going to explore some of those themes today. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you.
F. Scott Fitzgerald said that there are no second acts in American lives. You seem to be disproving him. What drove you to your second act? Why are you focusing so intensely on philanthropy?
Well, I was very lucky in my first act to be there at the beginning of the personal computer revolution and play a role in the importance of software, innovation in software. And it not only gave me a lot of resources, it also gave me an understanding of inequity in the world and the importance of innovation. And so now, partnered with my wife Melinda, my second job, and it'll be the full-time job for the rest of my life, is taking those resources and trying to help out those in most need.
And both of you believe very strongly in giving back. I mean, at a time when there's a global debate about inequality, whether there should be a global wealth tax, do you think that that is the way to go? Or do you think if rich people give back in the way that you do, that is a better way of promoting growth and tackling poverty and disease?
Well, certainly tax systems are the primary thing that asks those who are the most successful to fund the basics that we'd like to have for everybody. Philanthropy is only, even in the United States, where it's the largest, about 2% of the economy. And yet philanthropy, when it comes to novel approaches, trying out new types of schools, funding some new health R&D, it has been willing to be diverse, to be risk-oriented, and then in the best case, if it does something like Green Revolution where new seeds get invented, then government money comes along, really scales that stuff up. And so, I love philanthropy, but I wouldn't say that it's the solution to whatever your views on wealth distribution.
Now, I read a quote attributed to you in which you said, "Success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into thinking that they cannot lose." I'm very intrigued because your career is not associated with failure. What have you failed at, and what have you learned from that?
Well, Microsoft certainly has a lot of things it did extremely well. I haven't been CEO since the year 2000, and the company's got immense strengths, but in areas like search or phones, you've got Google, Apple, who've done very, very well. So we were always in a very dynamic environment. The fact that we got in and really created this Windows environment, which drove personal computing to a new level, that meant that we were the center of attention, and really understanding what it was that we might be missing, required very good management because we were so successful. And so, yes, you can get confused about what the key elements are and what you need to sustain it, and that type of thing. And you've got to seek out criticism, seek out the customers that are not meeting their needs. It's kind of complacency is typical.
And do you think that success at Microsoft blinded you to the unbelievable disruptive power of the internet in particular?
Well, the internet, no. I wrote a memo before the internet was significant at all, saying that we were betting the company on the internet, and that I hoped nothing else was coming along because we were so maniacally focused on the internet. And internet explodes about 1995, and of course, Microsoft from 95 to 2000, we double our profits. We double our profits again to 2005. The only way you can think of Microsoft as not successful is to say, did we lead in every market in the digital environment? And no company has done that. And now we have a little bit of a re-energization under a new CEO who's looking at the mobile, the cloud, and saying, hey, the company has to really adopt and lead in this environment, and it's exciting to see that take place.
Now, you've described yourself as an impatient optimist. And in the world today, there are a lot of problems. There's turmoil in the Middle East. There's the growth of poverty, inequality. There is the threat possibly of artificial intelligence, which people like Elon Musk think are more dangerous than nukes potentially. And there is, of course, climate change. Which of those do you think is the greatest challenge to mankind, and what can we do about it?
Well, the fundamental situation is that life is improving dramatically. Now, there's a tendency, partly because of the way news works or human mentality works, to say, oh, it's not peaceful everywhere. Absolutely, these are awful things. We need to get these things solved. But it isn't a framework where people should be negative. They should think of the good things that have happened and say, how do we build on that? I often look to innovation as the thing that'll help us do better. Climate change is a big problem, but it's one that if you do the right types of R&D, you can actually avoid the ill effects. Development, where you get buffer stocks of food, you get air conditioning. The middle income countries really aren't going to suffer that much. It's the low income countries. So as we reduce the emissions, knowing that there'll be some heating, we have to improve farming productivity. We have to help out these poor countries, because that's where most of the suffering will take place.
And a lot of these areas that you're talking about, we need to have a cooperation between the public and the private sector to promote innovation. How does that happen?
Well, in some areas like digital technologies, although the public sector was there at the start, the chip industry, the internet, a lot of defense spending and general R&D helped drive that forward. Now the private market is really moving forward at full speed. In health, it's a bit more complicated because the government's often the payer. They have to have the long-term point of view, so some of the basic R&D that there is no financial return for, that is going on. Likewise in energy, there's upstage research that will enable the CO2-free, lower-cost energy generation, that government R&D budgets should be increased in order to accelerate innovation in that space. So yes, this boundary of the biggest part of the economy, the private sector, with the second biggest, the government sector, and then the small piece, philanthropic area, the way they interact with each other and play to their strengths and help each other out. Plenty of room for innovation on those boundaries.
Great. Thank you very much.